You're probably wondering why we're on a boat in the middle of the night, standing around the corpse of what appears to be Silshard. It isn't, but that's hardly relevant to the situation. Like I said, we're on a boat, heading for the island of Evermeet, where we hope to meet Oberyn Crownsilver, former fiancée to the Queen of Cormyr, so that we can recover the ancient tome, formerly property of Tarachmus, I can never remember how to say it, the Lich, that he's holding, so we can stop the Nilshai, creatures from the Far Realm that are imminently about to enter our reality. Even at our best pace, we won't make it to Evermeet before the invasion begins. And on top of all that, even if we find the tome, its contents are probably useless to us without the second piece of the puzzle, the information contained in the King's Tier that Oriyana has been holding since the death of her fiancé. It also happens to contain the soul of said fiancé, that we need to figure out a way to resurrect without potentially sacrificing the world. And on top of that, the Queen of Cormyr has managed to stow at least one assassin on board our ship. They have some kind of eldritch power which, among other things, allows them to take on the appearance of others. We managed to defeat the first one, thanks in large part to a message from Cassius making it through the magical interference that surrounds Evermeet. But now, we're on a boat with God knows how many assassins, and after that we have to stop the end of the world. So it looks like it's a day ending in Y already.
The corpse that appears to be Sylvester Silshard, or Howl, begins to kind of dissipate into ash and fly away in the salty sea air. That was that fight. That was the attack by the assassins. The crew are beginning to recover. Captain Vlar is beginning to kind of shout at the crew to kind of get the boat back on track as you now cross the demarcation line. You are now within Evermeet's magical boundaries. You cannot communicate with the outside world. The outside world cannot communicate with you, and this is where the voyage begins to get difficult. Vlar says to you, I recommend that you use this opportunity to get some rest. In the morning, I will need your navigational skills to assist me with getting through Evermeet's defenses.
Howl's gonna be kind of like staring at the spot where the probable assassin was, looking really, really, really confused. Hal's gonna kind of like linger on that spot for a moment and then turn to Vlar and say, we obviously, yeah, we'll be ready. Turning to Alec and Oriyana and Génie, Hal's gonna be like, you all saw that as well, right? Yeah?
Fortunately so.
Howl, make a wisdom saving throw.
I figured that was coming. Wisdom saving throw. That's a nat 1. That's a 10 total. 1.
Okay. You remember Silshard's demise. Your friends had attempted to erase from your memory so that you would be able to retain your warlock abilities by convincing yourself that Silshard was still alive. In an instant, everything comes flooding back. You are back in the cellar of Génie's lamp. You see Oriyana open the crate containing all of the delayed blast fireballs. You see them glow, you see them explode, you feel the heat of the fire. You summon Silshard's Aegis with all of your power, wrapping yourself around Oriyana, shielding her from the blast. You draw on all of that eldritch power. And then you are back in Jarlaxle's cafe, down the road, where you watch Silshard, who is slumped against the wall in I can't remember whose arms he was in, possibly in Alec's arms, as he begins to disintegrate and little flakes begin just to peel off into the air until he is ash scattered around the cafe. You remember the sorrow that kind of the blast of pain at seeing Silshard die hits you again now in this moment. You remember the deal that the bargain that you made with Alec to remove your memories in exchange for power. Now that the kind of the gut punch of sorrow hits you again, it's as though Howl is in the moment of seeing Silshard die and knows that Alec has taken that memory and that grief. So however Howl would respond to that, but it's like you're in both of those moments at once: the raw pain of Silshard and the sort of, you know, by the time you made that decision with Alec, you'd processed a bit. You have not processed at all now. It's the raw grief of Silshard's death again, but you still have the memory of what Alec did.
Do I remember that obviously it was an agreement that Hal made with Alec, where it's like kind of a, you know, Hal agreed to do that?
Yeah. You have that memory. You remember that you agreed to it, but you were also, so that it's like it's a dichotomy of feelings in you. You've got that kind of, but that decision came when you'd had a bit of time away from the grief, and the instant feeling of it at least. Whereas now you are feeling that. You are feeling what you felt in the moment of Silshard's death.
Howl is going to like stand motionless for a few seconds, wobble a little on the spot, almost with the sway of the ship, and then drop to his knees. Howl's gonna immediately start fighting back tears, which is gonna quickly turn to gritted teeth and glaring into the spot where this assassin, who Howl realised may well have been using the Mask of Many Faces or something else, was. And there'll be a brief pause before Howl just lets loose a guttural kind of yell of just anguish toward the entire boat. Howl's going to slam his hand hard into the decking of the boat and just scream for a moment before going quiet and just kind of sobbing, back heaving just on his knees into this part of the boat. There's going to be a moment where Howl looks up, eyes doing the glowy thing, purely just enraged, and there'll be a moment where he looks towards Alec. That will then break after a few seconds and just return to sobbing.
Génie will come up next to you and will put his, because you're now on your knees, so you're at the right height for him to put his arm around your shoulder. And he kind of puts an arm around your shoulder and the other hand on your other shoulder, so he's kind of hooking you from behind.
Hal's going to look up towards Génie and say, through gritted teeth, "I remember everything. I'm trying very hard to think of anyone else to blame, but I can only think of that as my fault. I don't know how I'm supposed to continue."
Génie will say, "This was not your fault. You did not know that drawing on Silshard's power would cause him to die, but from everything I know about Silshard of Sylvester and all of the adventures that we have been on together and all of the conversations we have had, he would not for a moment. He would have been more pained if you had hesitated before drawing on his power to protect Oriyana."
I think Howl is going to lash out a little and kind of like fling upward and push Génie away and say, "I appreciate you trying, but you can't possibly comprehend what I'm handling right now. I should have known. I shouldn't have been relying on them to begin with."
That comment, Oriyana will, like, keeping a little distance, seeing that Howl needs space, but also recognizing that he shouldn't have too much space. Which will kind of like kneel nearby and just quietly say, losing such a huge part of yourself. I understand that. I know that. You're not alone. Do not blame yourself. It will only bring you more pain.
Hal kind of goes quiet and like maintains a stare towards Oriyana and then towards Alec and Génie as well, before saying, "That's part of the problem. For so long, Silshard should never have been just an extension of me. Silshard's not a part of myself. The whole point of what we were trying to do is to make them their own person. And I in that moment, I took that away from them. If they were there and I was able to ask them to lend me that power to try and make things right, to have a little faith in them, that would have been different. But I took that away from them because of my own desperation and weakness. I should have known that you, and Hal point Oriyana, I should have known that you were strong enough to handle that on your own. That wasn't about your weakness, that was about my weakness. I failed all of us in that moment. I failed Silshard.
Did what any of us would do in that situation.
Hal's gonna like just kind of sag onto the deck and say, I want to believe that you're right. I really do.
In time you probably will, but right now you are understandably hurt. I do not expect you to believe it.
I assume that Hal also remembers, obviously, how Hal acted after that event, you know,
Yes.
the whole... Yeah. Hal will just begin breathing real slowly and kind of sit on his knees on the deck of the ship and looking towards, like, just the sky, will say, I realize that my own feelings and my own weaknesses would be very counterintuitive to the current situation we're in. But I need a resolution to this, and I need to make someone else pay for this, because I don't know how I'm supposed to continue. I can't hold this inward. I'm not strong enough for that.
Génie will say, then blame the one who planted the delayed blast fireballs in our cellar. Hold all of this anger and use it against Ranulf Ilvaster when we get back to Waterdeep. And against Queen Raidra.
Hal's gonna like kind of sigh, just seemingly exhausted from the despair. And Hal's gonna look Génie dead in the eyes and say, I'm so tired of that kind of a feeling. But I'm sure I'll find the energy to reap the very ground from their feet, given the opportunity for what they've done. I'll try and make myself useful, despite my current state. I have no intention of letting my weakness be the world's problem any more. The least I can do for Silshard. is anyone else on the boat, like any of the people like Vlar or any of the other people who work on the boat, like looking at all?
Yeah, Vlara is watching. She's dismissed most of the crew, so there's only 2 deckhands now on the deck of the boat, and they're like securing some ropes that came loose in the fight, and just repairing a few kind of bits of decking that Vlara's instructed them to. And as soon as they finish, Vlara dismisses them and just kind of, with a jerk of her hand, points below deck, and you can see that Vlara is kind of. It's dark, so she can't really do anything other than watch.
Yeah.
But you sense that kind of she is only there because she feels she has to be.
Howl is going to stand bolt upright, still like fighting back tears, grimace almost apologetically towards the party, then look towards Vlar and say, "Show's over. I'm sorry you had to see that." And Hal's gonna go and like just stand near the edge of the boat at any part and just kind of stare towards the ocean,
Okay.
just silently.
Alec and Oriyana, do you want to do anything, or shall we cut to dawn?
Do we all have separate quarters? I feel like we've asked this before.
Yeah, you two have your own officers' rooms. Howl sleeps with the crew in the cargo bay. Cargo deck.
Like about half an hour after we've gone to bed, I am gonna knock on Oriana's door.
Mm-hmm.
How much time would have passed since we originally went to bed?
Alec?
How long did we wake up into the night?
It was halfway through the night.
Okay.
Okay, so I would have finished the meditation, yeah, so Oriana would be wide awake. She'll open the door and kind of like stand aside to let you in.
So, I've been doing some thought, and I know the spell I used on Howl, I didn't originally design it to manipulate my friends' memories to keep their magic intact. I did originally design it to help you. And I don't feel like we're going to get a lot of time in the next couple of days for me to do that. So I was wondering if you wanted me to do that now.
Worth a try. This is the only time that we will get, then may as well make use of the time that we have. Is there like a desk in the room?
Yeah.
Any kind of cool. She'll pull two of the chairs over and sit in one of them and gesture for Alec to take the other one.
Okay, I will kind of sit opposite Oriana and begin casting Alec's Mind Meld,
Okay.
which is 4th level.
I forgot we called it that.
Victus Mind Meld, I think it's called.
I just written down Alec's Mind Meld.
Yes. Right. So
Victus rolls off the tongue better though.
let's have a look at this spell.
Because I've got the notes of what it does, and I've got the
Yes.
notes I made while I was like creating it,
Yeah.
but I never compiled those.
I have it written down here. So, you have to connect your thoughts with another's. So that's by like Vulcan mind meld, by putting your hand on Oriana's head and saying, you know, my thoughts to your thoughts to my thoughts, and you know that sort of thing. Oriana, are you willing?
Yes.
Okay. You are both incapacitated for the duration of this spell. It lasts for up to 10 minutes that Alec maintains concentration on it. You see the memories, so you both see Oriana's memories, and you are able to communicate with each other throughout the process. the memories are as they really happened. Alec is now better able to detect where modify memory spell or kind of traumatic overwriting has taken place, and Alec can try to dispel that and kind of push those kind of false bits aside and kind of recoalesce the fragmented parts of Oriyana's memory. And then once you complete it, once you complete this spell and exit this spell, there is a consequence for both of you having probed around in someone's memories.
I'm not surprised.
Okay. What are you looking for?
So I will look. I mean, I've seen like the altered version of the memory before, but I will sort of say to Oriyana, try to think back to that day, think back to what happened, and sort of do the magical equivalent of zooming in on the moment that Sam first knelt down.
Okay.
And sort of watch through from there and try and see what happens in that blank space.
So, Sam kneels down, and you can see into the picnic basket that he's taking the ring box from. You watch slowly, and in that moment you see Sam open the ring box. There is only one ring inside. He kind of takes out from his cuff another ring, which you recognise as one of the ones that Oriyana wears around her neck. The other one is already in the box. And it's the ring that has what you now know is a king's tear set in it, and he puts that in the box alongside the one that was already in there. You also notice as he's nervous, and he kind of knocks the box, the picnic basket, as he turns around, and that's where you see kind of a piece of cloth fall away from the top of the lid, and that there is a delayed blast fireball orb in the picnic basket.
That's how it happened.
I didn't see the others. Does this look the same as the ones from the lamp?
Exactly. And the ones went off the lamp. I saw a brief flash of yes. They look exactly the same. I don't know who could have put them there. There was no one else that we spoke to that day that I know of. Obviously Sam may have, but...
Both of you can make perception checks.
Oh, I'd forgot I enabled those dice on D&D Beyond.
7.
That's...
What did you get, Oriyana?
27.
And Alec?
26 with a natural 20.
Okay, both of you, as you're considering that, look down to the base of the hill, and you can see that there is someone stood there at the base of the hill.
Zoom in on that motherfucker.
Yeah, can I Boop?
Computer enhance.
Yeah, zoom it in half.
Essentially, memory enhance. You both kind of, so in this, you're walking around. It's not kind of you like being static and looking at things. You yourselves are in that scene, in that moment. So you're kind of like walking around in that. So you kind of both get up from the picnic basket where you can see the delayed blast fireball, and you go down to the bottom of the hill, and you see that, so stood at the bottom of the hill is a woman wearing the same sort of robes, although hidden by a kind of like brown travelling cloak, that the Order of Wizards that work for Raedra Orbriskir was wearing.
It's the same people that Sam worked with.
Does she look familiar, or is she fairly nondescript?
Reasonably nondescript. Also, this was a number of years ago.
She could be an elf. They live like hundreds of years.
No, we sorted this out. Can you remind me, Tony? What did we end up with for the? Because it was originally like 80 years, and then we changed it to be a bit more recent. How long did we say it was?
What did we decide? Hang on, I'm gonna consult Facebook real quick. Oh, we discussed it over call.
I think we changed it to like 3 or 5 years prior to the events of Curse of Strahd.
Yeah, it was changed to only a couple of years.
Yeah. You can both make history checks to see if you recognise this person from the court of Queen Raedra.
I mean, given that I would have seen the court of Queen Raedra less than 30 days ago, I would remember.
Okay.
That's 13.
But I will make the history check anyway, because I've got to... Ow.
What did Alec get?
I got an 11.
Okay, and Oriyana?
13.
Okay. She seems incredibly familiar to both of you, but you don't think from the court of Queen Raedra. You think you're looking at someone who is younger than you now know them.
Oh, it better not be who I think it is, or they're so dead.
I've seen...
Cecile, is it?
Hmm?
It's not Cecile, is it?
It could be.
I don't like that, Dan. I don't like that one bit.
Is it like, this person is just someone I know but younger, or is it they're someone I know but a bit like younger and also a bit different? Do they have like a different shaped nose, different eye colour?
No, but kind of if either of you kind of begin to scroll through your mental list of people this could possibly be, given that you recognise them in some way. Kind of, if it were Cecile, she's changed her hair and aged a bit, obviously, but you aren't used to seeing Cecile not in her black kind of faux Zentarim get up.
Looks like we have a question for Thomas when we next see him.
Does she look like normal amount of younger, or does she look okay? Yeah, I mean she's human, so
It's like a
5-6
toddler stood
years.
there at the bottom of this hill.
Well, no, but if she's like, how old was Cecile? Because if she's like 50 and this is her when she's like 20,
She's in her late 30s.
yes,
So she'd be in her early to mid 30s at the time of this. So yeah, not much different. You don't age massively in those years. It could be you aren't completely convinced that it is.
does Cecile have a secret twin sister? Is that the plot twist?
Don't know.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh, it's Cecile from Faerun 2.
Is there anything else you would like to see in this memory?
I mean,
Oriyana would probably unconsciously find herself kind of just migrating towards Sam.
Yep.
To see him.
Yeah, you look at him. He's now back, kind of, because as Alex kind of like moved this memory forward a little bit, Sam is now kind of on one knee in front of memory Oriyana with the ring box open. He looks nervous. Like you've seen him kind of confident. You've seen him kind of like that cheeky kind of confidence that he sometimes had. But this is him nervous. Like he thinks he knows what he's doing, but he's not 100% sure. You wonder now if he doubted that you would say yes.
Poor baby. Oriyana will take a moment for looking towards Alec. If you bring time forward in this memory, obviously that blast will engulf this hill, but would it affect us currently?
No. I mean, me as a player, I would assume not, because we're not physically there. But Alec as a character would know the answer to that question.
It would not affect either of you. But it depends, because obviously there is that period of time, because Oriyana just kind of appeared elsewhere at one point. So kind of there is like that intervening period.
I mean, unless some other magical shenanigans happen, and I'll kind of it's very Doctor Strange time turn-esque motion. You're like,
So you advance time slowly, and you can see Oriana's response to Sam. You can see them leaning down, and she embraces Sam and takes the rings. At which point there is a flash from the picnic basket, and slowly a fireball erupts and cascades out of the picnic basket, engulfing Sam and Oriyana, completely unaware that it's there. They are so focused on each other, and this happens to them so quickly that it's in an instant. But for you, you've slowed it down so you can kind of see the fire progressing.
Cool. Oriyana would be watching it like a hawk.
Mm-hmm.
She did something with a king's tear and she wants to know how. She also wants to know what the hell happened in between the blast and her appearing at the bottom.
You are both touching the rings, holding onto the rings kind of at the moment that the fireball hits Sam. The fireball hits Sam, and you can see kind of he doesn't even have time to react before kind of the fireball is through. But as you watch the flames kind of slowly get around both of you, you see the king's tear begin to glow. You see both of you kind of begin to glow with the same kind of starlight that the king's tear is glowing with. And you can see the glow that surrounds Sam kind of transmits across his body and into the king's tear as he is burnt and immolated by the fire as it crosses. When it crosses you, the colour of the gem of the colour of the glow of the king's tear changes slightly as it's hit by the fire, and it flashes in a myriad of colours, and it kind of hits you in the chest. You get the sense, watching this, that whatever magic enables the king's tear to trap memories and trap parts of souls activated in the moment of the fireball and the fire hitting it, and trapped Sam's soul. You also think that magic then rebounded and hit you, and that is from where you get your ability to capture souls.
Interesting.
Why the magic activated in that moment, you don't know, but it did.
We'll continue watching to see what happens after and how I got out supposedly unscathed.
you are hit by the blast of the fireball, and the magic that is flowing through you as a result of the tear activating seems to just make the fire wash over you. Alec, you notice that something is missing from that memory. Could you please make a intelligence check to correct it?
Just intelligence.
Yes, it's your spell casting ability. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh my god! Can I spend an inspiration?
Yes, if you have one.
I do.
We haven't played since your birthday, I don't think. So you
No.
have birthday inspiration.
It's better than a natural one.
What did
It
you
was
get?
2 natural ones in a row, by the way. 13 total.
13 total.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oriyana, could you please make a wisdom saving throw?
Would I recognize this as Alec trying to correct something?
Yes.
I will fail.
Okay. Alec, you see that this memory is not right, and you rewind time back and then let it play again. The fireball expands from the picnic basket, and it expands slower than it did before, and you see that Sam turns, kind of sees out of the corner of his eye the fire, and he pushes Oriyana away and casts a spell on Oriyana. He then takes the King's Tear in his hand and is in the process of crushing it when the fireball consumes him, and the force of the fireball hitting him kind of means he throws it open and it lands kind of on Oriyana and kind of in amidst Oriana's clothing. The fire washes over Oriyana, and whatever spell he cast protects her from the fire completely, kind of completely protects her from the fire. The gem in the King's Tear that is kind of like partly cracked kind of begins to seal itself up again, but there are just pulses of magic emanating from it, flowing into and over Oriyana in that moment as she kind of like lies unconscious, with the spell kind of protecting her from the fire and the gem lying on her chest. As the fireball dies away, you see the woman coming up the hill, and she looks down, she looks around Sam's remains, curses that she can't find whatever it is that she's looking for, goes over to Oriyana, at which point the memory stops because Oriyana completely has now lost consciousness.
The seal was hunting for King's Tears. Sam had a King's Tear. She took him from me.
How long ago did we first meet Cecile? Has it been less than 30 days?
Yes.
Thinking back, when we first met her, did she seem to recognize Oriyana?
She didn't, but you do recall that while you were waiting to go to Queen Rhaedra's castle, she spent a long time talking to Oriyana and seemed genuinely interested in Oriyana and everything Oriyana had done between Sam's death and the present day. So much so that Oriyana gave Cecile enough information to then mimic Oriyana and frame the party for killing, for attempting to kill Ranulf. But now you think about it, it's entirely possible that she was asking to find out where Oriyana could have hidden the King's Tear, or wherever Sam might have hidden the King's Tear, simply because of how probing she was. You had no reason to think that at the time, but that kind of connection is now made in your brain.
we ever meet her again, do not hold me back.
Oh, I want to kill her anyway.
I'm not in this conversation, but I want to kill her so bad right now.
I think we know who to blame for Silshard's death.
Fuck, just get her ass. I'm so mad right now.
Yeah, that's kind of the extent of what we can learn with this spell.
Well, I need to... Thank you.
And I'll kind of awkwardly detach my hands from Oriyana's head.
Okay. Both of you need to make charisma saving throws.
Ooh. Is this a spell or magical effect?
It is part of the spell you are casting.
Okay, so I get advantage from the Robe of the Archmagi.
Okay.
I'm just gonna roll one.
So you are both rolling, and it happens on. It happens depending on the lowest roll both of you, that either of you make.
19.
Oriyana, charisma save.
It was an 18.
An 18. Okay. So with an 18, both of you gain 1 level of exhaustion, which will persist through, kind of, because you're part way through a long rest now. Your long rest has been disrupted, so you can sleep to recover any spell slots that you've expended and hit points and so on. But that level of exhaustion will persist for through the next through till the next long rest.
Makes sense. Is that everything?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'm not good with emotions, but if you want to talk, I will listen.
Appreciate the offer, really do. I've had enough time to deal with my own grief. If anything, it is how we should be helping.
Yeah, well, given that it's me who put him in this situation, I don't know if he wants to...
Under my guidance.
Yeah. But I came up with the idea first, so... I'll, want to leave that as the last comment, so I'll, start moving towards the door. And unless Oriyana speaks to me again, I will disappear back to my room.
Oriyana would probably just tell him not to be so harsh on himself.
Okay. The night passes, and the next day, all of the crew get on the deck of the ship, and Vlar begins a briefing to you all. And she says, we are about to enter the most treacherous waters on all of Faerun, on all of Toril. We shall have to pass through storms, magical storms, and through mazes of reefs and sandbanks and shallow waters, and when we are through those, we will likely encounter one of the aquatic creatures that protects Evermeet. If this boat sinks, there is virtually no chance of rescue. Our contractors, I suppose, Howl, Oriyana, Alec and Génie, you are by far the most powerful people on board. I will control the ship through the waters under your directions. My crew will see to the rigging, to the sails, to the oars, will make sure that the boat continues to operate. But whatever threats we face, it will be the 4 of you that will have to protect this ship. Have I made myself clear?
There's question.
Yes.
Hal's just gonna nod, not speaking.
Very well. If you turn around, you will see the storm bank in front of us. This is where it begins. As if on command, lightning cracks through the sky, and you move into the storm ahead. And I need, first of all, some checks to make it through the storms. This is a group check. I need... I will need Alec. Remind me what role you took?
I was navigator.
You were navigator. Okay.
Yeah.
So I need a intelligence check from you.
Okay.
Disadvantage because of exhaustion.
Yeah.
Oh, how did I get that level of exhaustion, Dan? Not amazing. 13.
Okay. Oriyana, I need a perception check from you as lookout.
15, so it's 28.
Okay. And Howl, I need a strength check from you as deckhand.
Cool. That's an 11.
Okay. This is a failure on this first of 3 checks to navigate your way through the storm and sandbanks. The ship's components each take 4d10 bludgeoning damage, and you are going to move slower through the rest of the storm and through the rest of the sea. So 4d10 points of bludgeoning damage to the ship. So that's a total of 24 points of bludgeoning damage to each component of the ship. So whomever is looking after those hit points.
Yep. So let's put the hull on 276. That's going to put the helm on... Oh my gosh. It's 24 each, you said, yeah?
Yes.
That puts the helm on 26 hit points. That's
Okay.
good. 26 for that. That then puts the sails on 76.
Mm-hmm.
That then puts the ballista on 24 also. Because we have a ballista, apparently.
Yes, you only have the ballista, you don't have any of the other weapons, I should point out.
Cool, that's fine. Puts that on 26 also. And then that's everything then.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Second set of checks.
This is not going well. Is it the same checks again?
Yeah.
Roll 20 not Roll 20. D&D Beyond just hates me. That's my 3rd natural 1 this session.
Okay.
Well, I've only had 1 natural 1 this session.
So what did we get?
Give inspiration.
You can.
I got a 12 for my strength check.
Okay. Alec, you can re-roll with Oriana's inspiration.
Thank you, Oriyana.
No problem. 28 again for 7.
Brilliant. 7.
Okay. This is another failure, so there is another 4d10 points of bludgeoning damage coming to all of the components.
Okay, hit me with the number.
The ship components take 28 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, well, that's not good. Okay, so that puts the hull on 248. That takes the helm completely out. The helm is on 0.
Okay, so the storm strikes the boat. Winds begin to batter it. There is lightning arcing across the sky, and there is a huge kind of blast of wind that knocks the boat sideways. Bits of wood are separated from parts of the ship due to the force of the storm, and the helm. So the steering kind of device and most of the navigator stuff is just completely taken off the ship.
That also puts the sail on 48, but also the ballista is also wiped out on 0.
The ballista is kind of taken off. Taken off of its perch by the wind and thrown against the decking of the ship. It bounces off the decking of the ship and hits the mast and shatters. So you still have it, but it's useless.
Yeah. Okay. Howl is going to yell out to Vlar and say, "Vlar, how do we not die here?"
She says, "Do your jobs."
Howl looks so mad right now.
We can't turn.
It's the final set of checks to navigate your way through the storms.
I want to point out I've rolled.
Okay, Oriyana,
The 23 perception.
23, Howl,
13.
and Alec.
11.
Okay, that's another failure. Between you are really struggling between the levels of exhaustion and Howl's grief.
I have an idea, if I can interject slightly.
Yeah.
Howl's going to furiously whip his head around towards Génie and say, "Génie, didn't you do something before about a storm, you know? Is there something you could do about this, please, so we don't all die?"
Alright. Génie will attempt to marshal the storm.
There we go.
So he kind of stands in the middle of the deck, throws his arms open, and you see lightning kind of coursing across his skin. And when he opens his eyes are just flashes of lightning. He holds his arms out and he begins to kind of control the storm, and you will take half damage as a result of this particular attack.
Without Alistair here, Alistair still turns out to be so useful.
So you're going to take 17 points of bludgeoning damage to all components.
Okay,
So remember the damage threshold on... what's the damage threshold on the hull? Is it 15?
15, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it will take the 17.
Yeah. So that's going to be 17, which the hull is now on 231.
Yep.
So we're still afloat. Helm's gone. Sail takes 17 as well, so that's going to put the sail on 31. And obviously, again, ballista is also still gone.
Okay. So that whole sailing process took the better part of a day, but you are now through the storms and out onto the other side at the end of this day.
Okay.
You are told by Captain Vlar that the ship has sustained major damage as a result of that. Fortunately, no crew were killed. She will set work on repairing the helm, and the crew will begin to repair the helm and repairing the ballista, as well as the sails and the hull. And over the course of the next long rest, the ship will regain a certain number of hit points for that. But you didn't completely die.
Hey.
Can I assist in the repairs using the mending cantrip?
You can. Génie will do that as well, and anyone else who has the mending cantrip can also contribute to this. At the end of the long rest, the next long rest, the ship will have regained. Each component of the ship regains 18 hit points and 15 hit points.
So we're long resting.
Yes.
Excellent.
18 and 15, you said,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
8,
they regain, so that's 20, 30,
33 each.
30, yeah. Yeah.
264. So that puts the hull back on 264. Obviously, that puts the helm back on 33.
Yeah.
Ballista back on 33. And the sail is back on 50, as I believe was its max.
Cool. Alright. The next day rolls around, so you all gain the full benefits of a long rest. The next day rolls around and Vlar says, "Any moment now, we will see one of the creatures that protects the Isle of Evermeet. We must defeat it in order to pass. In my experience, it will try to destroy us completely, but I think the elves of Evermeet would not look kindly on us if we were to kill it. We should hurt it. And if we can force it to flee, then we should. Otherwise, I will attempt to keep the boat moving, and we will see if we can pass away from its dwelling place. But do not kill it. It is simply protecting the island, and we are trespassing.
Understood.
Just looking at my 2 highest level spells. Yeah.
Don't disintegrate it, Miles.
Oh, I've got one that's way worse than disintegrate.
The day continues, and you are all on this boat. You are all sailing along, and it's quiet. Now that you've passed through the storms, the sea returns to its calm-ish state. Oriyana, you would be the first to see that there is something moving in the water.
Looks like it's found us, boys.
And that is when the sea creature will appear. Off the starboard side of the vessel, you see moving through the water what looks like a giant snake composed of water itself. It seems to have some solid form, but it looks like it's a kind of like torrent of water moving underneath the surface of the ocean as a leviathan appears.
Oh boy.
And that is where we are going to roll initiative.
Do you want us to do this on D&D Beyond?
I do want you to do on... Yes, everything's still on D&D Beyond, please.
Because D&D Beyond hates me, so I'm going to try rolling some physical dice.
I have rolled a nat 20, that's a total of 25. I have to nip to the bathroom before we do combat, I'll be 2 seconds.
12.
You need to get 20 to get 25.
And Génie...
I literally
has a
can't roll 25.
+1 to initiative. Génie has a 5 total.
Bless.
Okay. Well, Howl and Oriyana are tied, and given that Howl has gone to the bathroom, Oriyana, you act first.
Excellent. I will whisper to my bow a swift defeat to my enemies
Yep.
and mark it as my sworn enemy. So that gives me advantage. Cannot get any benefits from cover, which is nice. Cool. So let's roll to hit.
Okay, I'm back.
18 to hit.
An 18 will hit this thing.
Excellent. Double check extra damage because I will forget that. Do. I will put sneak on this one. And that's a total of 29 plus 28. 57.
Okay.
And then I'll go for
The oath bow is magical, isn't it?
the...
Yeah. Cool. Second attack.
I'm role playing 14.
That will not hit.
And last one. Of course it would, Nat 20.
Nice, you crit, but you've used sneak attack, so you can't use sneak attack again.
Fine, I can use Wells from the Grave on it.
Yep. So you deal max damage with the oath bow, which is
So... Let me maths. 1 sec. Okay, so basic straight damage I roll is usually 1d8. So and then it's so flat damage is 50. Then the dice roll.
Flat damage is what, sorry?
50. 50.
How is it 50?
Don't kill it, they said.
How is it, genuinely, how is the
So-
dice damage 50?
It's D8. Didn't add 5 because I did that with the dice roll. So it's a D8 for the Oathbow, and then because it's a sworn enemy, it's
Yeah.
3d6 additional.
Okay, so 3d6
Then because
is
I did
18.
Whales from the Grave,
Yeah.
so that's an additional 4d6.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Cool. just checking.
You're always so concerned about Hal's damage. Have you seen Oriyana's right there?
Rolling the dice, it's
Yeah.
an additional
Another 12.
7.
Another
If only
27.
someone had predicted that giving the rogue free extra attack would unbalance the combat massively. If only someone humble and knowledgeable about games
And handsome.
had warned you that this was what your actions would bring about. You have sown, and now you must reap, Dan.
That's fine, because it means I can throw stronger enemies at you.
Yes.
At the end of your turn, Oriyana, if that's everything,
Yes.
the Leviathan is going to take a legendary action to slam the ship's hull. 28 to hit the ship's hull. Looking at the person who controls the ship.
Yep, so that's 28 to hit the ship's hull of the AC of it, right?
Yep.
The hull has AC 15, so yeah, that's going to hit.
Alright. The hull is going to take 19 points of bludgeoning damage
Mm-hmm.
and 13 points of acid damage.
So that's 13 plus 19. That is going to be a spicy 32, so that puts
Yeah.
the thing on 232, funnily enough.
It deals double damage to structures and objects, so double that.
So you mean 64 damage? Mm-hmm. That puts
Okay.
it instead then on... I think it puts it on straight 200, good god. Yep, okay.
Alright. Howl, your turn now.
Right, do I get the sense that given that I have now remembered that I no longer have a patron, do I have any magic, Dan, at all?
You would have to attempt.
Okay, I'm gonna point at this thing and try to make it the target of my Hexblade's curse.
That works.
Cool. I am then going to...
Would the Leviathan have to move adjacent to us to slam us?
The reach on the slam attack is 20 feet.
What can I even do? If it's the target of my Hexblade's curse, I am then going to try to use Phantasmal Killer on it.
Okay.
So it needs to make me a Wisdom saving throw.
What's the DC?
DC's 18.
Okay, it will use a legendary resistance to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Can I duck behind something and try to take any amount of cover?
Yeah, you could duck behind the main mast and you would gain partial cover.
Am I cool to move myself on the map?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do that then. That's me. That's my bonus action and the little
Okay.
extra.
Alright, it's Leviathan's turn, with Alec on deck. The Leviathan is going to slam into the side of the boat. Oh, actually. The Leviathan kind of twirls in the water and you feel the boat kind of begin to rock, and then you notice the boat depress slightly into the water. Alec, looking over the side of the boat from the starboard side, your side, you see a 250 feet long, 250 feet tall and 50 foot wide tidal wave about to wash over the side of the boat. I need
Yay.
everyone to make a strength saving throw.
Is this a spell or magical effect?
It magically creates a wave of water.
Bam! Advantage!
Well, it's not a magical effect though. It magically created the tidal wave, but the tidal wave itself is not magical.
But what does the text of the ability say? Because does it say...
The Leviathan magically creates a wave of water that extends from a point that it can see within 120 feet.
Okay.
Oh,
Does
well,
it have?
it does say the water spreads out across the ground in all directions, extinguishing unprotected flames in the area, and then vanishes. So I guess if you were sending it towards land, it's not actually moving the water. I think this is magical water. So yes, you may have advantage.
Well, I was going to say,
argued.
because if it's the rules for having to make a strength saving throw are included in the text of the ability, then it is a magical ability. But if it's like because it's the same thing as there's no rules for like non-magical, it doesn't matter. I rolled a 5.
Okay, Oriyana.
15.
Sorry,
15, 1-5.
15. Howl.
5.
Okay, Génie gets a 12, and Captain Vlar. What did I say? This was strength save. Captain Vlar gets a 7. So you all fail, which means that everybody is knocked prone. And you all take 58 points of bludgeoning damage, which the hull also takes, and it's doubled because it's well, no, the Leviathan isn't dealing this damage. The tidal wave is, so it's not doubled. So everyone, including the hull, takes 58 points of bludgeoning damage.
Damn! If only I hadn't just successfully argued that this was magical damage.
Yeah, the hull is on 142, by the way.
Can I use Uncanny Dodge to half it?
No, because you're not. Oh, is that just for dex saves though, or
No, that's evasion.
What's the
when
text
an
from
attacker
Uncanny
that
Dodge?
you can see hits
It's
you with
not
an
an
attack.
It's not an attack. So Captain Vlar is unconscious.
This is not going well, chat.
How much damage did I say? 58 damage. Cool. So Génie is on 50. That was the Leviathan's turn. It's now Alex's turn with Génie on deck.
Thing is, what I know what I do isn't going to stop it, but I'm going to attempt to cast Hold Monster on it. Can it make a Wisdom saving throw?
It can. What's your DC?
22.
It will choose to succeed.
Yeah, figured it would. Okay, probably only has one legendary resistance left, guys.
What's that?
Well, I don't have any bonus actions that can heal her, so I can't help Vlar. I'll stand up.
Yep.
Take a step back, and that's the end of my turn.
Okay. Génie's turn with Vlar on deck. Génie will go over to Vlar and will cast a healing spell on Vlar. Will cast, I think probably, Cure Wounds at 3rd level. So Vlar will regain 13 hit points. Okay, that's Génie's turn. It's now Vlar's turn with, technically, well, this has got it, Howl going before Oriyana on on the initiative tracker that I've got. We're going to do that. I know. I would just say that on that first instance, because you take your turn at the same time. But just so it's clearer on my thing, we'll do Howl then Oriyana. So Vlar on Vlar's turn is going to say to you, You're wounding it. Keep wounding it. And she is going, with that, she's going to throw her magical spear at the Leviathan. So this is a D20. She will miss the Leviathan. Her spear then returns to her hand. Howl with Oriyana on deck.
Cool. I am going to duck back around from the mast, point at the thing, and try to cast Toll the Dead. It needs to make me a wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save.
Mm-hmm. DC 18.
It will choose to succeed.
Cool. Okay. That is going to be me, unfortunately. I've not got much to do.
At the end of your turn, it's going to try to slam into the boat again. That is a 16.
A 16 is going to hit the hull. Yeah.
Okay. It deals...
Double damage, right, still?
Yep, so 44 is a doubled bludgeoning.
Okay.
And 26 doubled is the acid.
That's on 26.
So 44 and
Okay.
26.
Puts the hull on 72.
Alright. Oriyana.
I will bonus action to Ghost Walk because I forgot to do that last time. Given how much damage that tidal wave did, I will use my winged boots to fly above the deck. So that should another attack like that come, I can get out of the way.
Okay,
Out the way.
the wave was 250 feet tall.
Never mind. I can't dodge that then.
Well, it was only. I mean, it was. Yeah. It was 50 foot of water that just kind of washed over everything. But 250 feet tall, 50 foot wide, and 250 feet long. So you wouldn't be able to dodge it regardless. So if you don't want to use your boots, you don't need to. But otherwise, carry on.
Keep the Ghost Walk. And then I'll just go to shoot.
All right.
So first attack. It's 21.
That'll hit.
Will not sneak on this one.
Well. Oh yes, you have advantage because it's your sworn enemy, don't you? So how much damage?
9 plus 11, so 20 damage.
Okay. Second attack.
13.
Will not hit. Will not hit. See, that's the thing. Oriyana might now have 3 attacks, but it doesn't mean that all of them are going to hit.
I also did nothing with my turn. I'd like to put that out there.
Yeah. The Leviathan's tail will whip across the top of the deck, and it will attack randomly. So, who stood up? Alec and Oriyana.
Yeah.
Génie stood up to go over to Vlar, but Vlar kind of is very wounded. So I think this... Did Hal stand up, or just cast Toll the Dead?
Hal would have dipped back round, cast Toll the Dead, but he could have done that while still prone.
Okay. In which case, it will attack either Alec or Oriyana. It will attack Alec.
Yay.
So this is a 26 to hit you.
Oh, yeah, that hits.
Alright. You take 12 points of bludgeoning damage.
Is that magical?
It is not.
Ha.
And 8 points of acid damage.
That's a lot of damage, Dan.
Yeah. Alec, it's your turn with Génie on deck.
I want to try and hold monster again.
Okay.
Can it make a wisdom saving throw?
It can. It has no legendary resistances left.
Nice.
What's your DC?
22. Actually, do you know what? No, it's going to roll... Oh.
It fails.
I was going to say... Yes, good.
It rolled a 21 on its wisdom save.
Great.
So it is paralyzed for the duration.
Which is?
Which is 1 minute. It's concentration.
Okay.
And at the end of each of its turns, it gets to make another wisdom saving throw to attempt to break out of it.
All right.
But
Vlar, when she sees it that you've paralysed it, Vlar will shout through the grate to the rowers beneath, "Row! Row for your lives!" And the boat picks up speed. Génie, on his turn, is going to control weather so as to put wind behind the sails to speed the boat up more. And with the Leviathan being paralysed, with the boat's speed being increased, you sail quite comfortably away from the Leviathan, and the shores of Evermeet appear on the horizon. Well done.
And we didn't kill it. See, I am capable of leaving my enemies alive.
The way my gut sank every time I had to do the damage and HP for the boat, that thing was doing literally any more of attacks from that thing, and that would have sunk us for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, we'll take a short break here for 5 minutes, and then we will arrive on Evermeet after the break. Don't go anywhere, roleplay amongst yourselves. We'll be back in around 5 minutes. And we're back. Having defeated the Leviathan, or at least managing to escape from its clutches with the ship relatively intact, you sail towards Evermeet. You are sailing towards what appears to be a large city, and its harbour. On the east coast of the island, nestled like an ancient gem amidst the lush greenery of her trees, is situated what you know to be the capital city of Luthilspar. Luthilspar's skyline features delicate towers of glass and alabaster, domes of precious stones and metals, and streets paved in living rock or crystal, vast mansions literally grown from the very earth and composed of growing trees and plants, and many other wonders unseen elsewhere on the Forgotten Realms. Luthilspar, it looks a bit similar to Myth Draenor, or what Myth Draenor would have looked like had it survived the various cataclysms that assailed it there. But most of the structures you would know, particularly Oriyana would know this, were built using elven magic to literally grow buildings from the ground, transforming natural materials into seamless, incredibly strong constructs subdivided into rooms, hallways and courtyards. Crystalline materials and precious stones are used as roofing materials. So as the light from the sun glistens off the sea, creating that kind of sparkly, crystally effect, so too is it creating that effect as it glistens off the precious stones put into the roof of the buildings of this vast city of Luthilspar. When you arrive in the harbour, it is deep and well sheltered. You see that there is a harbour chain, although it is down at this point in time, and you are able to sail the boat into the dock. You are met as you sail into the dock by what looks like a full battalion of elven troops on the harbour, just watching you approach.
Are they likely to be friendly? I'll say to Vlar.
Vlar says, well, they haven't shot at the boat, and they haven't teleported it away, which was also one of the possibilities that I should have mentioned.
Yes, probably, but...
Would have been nice to know that 5 days ago.
Given the state of our ship, I feel like if they wanted us gone, we would be.
Indeed.
Howl's gonna turn to Vlar, just as we're starting to dock, and say, sincerely, thank you for getting us here.
You are welcome. I will remain in the harbour until you tell me what it is that you wish me to do, and see to some repairs of this ship. The other half of the payment, if you please.
How much do we owe her?
Well,
We give it all up front.
I marked
No, you did.
up-
Yeah, you paid all up front because because it was such a dangerous voyage. So she will still say the other half of the payment, if you please, with a bit of a grin on her face.
I'm gonna say to Vlar, when we do get back, well, we'll make sure that you're aptly rewarded. Even though we've already paid you,
You have. I was simply trying my luck.
still we are grateful.
I am grateful for the adventure, and my crew. Well, they get to see Evermeet. This is an honour reserved for very few. My crew will not set foot on the land. They are not all elves, and therefore it would be disrespectful for us to actually make landfall. But, your welcoming party? I recognize who is in charge.
Go on.
She says, do you see standing there in the more ornate armour with the wood they look like trees. The shoulder curves that curve up, and you can see what she's describing. Is an elven man, a very handsome elven man with short blonde hair and in kind of elven plate armor with what look like kind of branches of trees kind of curling up and out as shoulder kind of decorations. She says, that is Prince Lamruil, the Crown Prince of Evermeet. When his mother finally returns to Arvandor, he will take over the running of Evermeet.
How is that spelled?
Lamruil, Lamruil.
Oh, thank God.
I suppose, given the place we are, that makes him a very, very important person.
It is unusual for the prince to greet trespassers.
Is
It
there
would be
anything...
rude to keep him waiting.
You are now close enough to Doc that you would be able to communicate with the prince, and you hear him, and you hear him, and his voice carries much. It sounds like he's stood next to you on the boat. This must be some sort of magical kind of product of Evermeet. But he says, "Hail, adventurers, heroes of Faerun. Your arrival has been long expected. My mother, Her Majesty the Queen, will see you in the palace. You are to come with us. You have been granted dispensation so that Howl, Alec, and Génie may set foot on Evermeet. Oriyana Aldriel of TheAglarion, you are most welcome to the ancestral home of the elves on Toril."
Thank you.
I'm gonna, like, Hal's gonna, like, kind of give a short bow and say, "It's a great honor, and I appreciate your hospitality."
"Yes, it is. Would you please come with me? It is unwise to keep my mother waiting."
Right you are.
The last royal we met tried to have us killed. This
Oh.
isn't a trap, is it?
If my mother wished to have killed you, you would be dead already. Either Hamnuatha would have killed you in the waters, the Leviathan that you encountered, or my mother would simply have taken one look at your ship as it approached and sent it back into the storms. My friends, if we wished to kill you, you would already be dead. As it happens, your arrival has been foretold. We've been waiting you.
Great.
Alec is holding back with every ounce of his self-control, saying, "But I am already dead." He's like, you can see the look in his face is like, "Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it, don't say it."
Yeah, Hal's gonna take a big exhale and give Vlar one final nod before beginning to dismount the boat.
Okay, you dismount the boat.
Lead the way then.
Okay. Moonstone Palace, which is the home of the royal family of Evermeet, is a vast gleaming structure of white, silver and gold, standing watch over the city below from pleasant forested heights. It is an enormous construction featuring tall, slender towers, walls, keeps, small domes and cupolas, landing platforms for flying troops, buttresses, high walkways, and numerous substructures that are all clustered around a huge central dome, crafted of alabaster and marble and roofed in gold. You are led through the palace grounds. The grounds are extensive, with many small parks, sacred groves, lakes, statuaries, hedge mazes and gardens. Several smaller buildings surround the palace, each as elaborate and luxurious as the home of any human monarch that you've ever seen. The grounds, you notice, are patrolled by elven warriors. You are led inside, through a wonderland of broad corridors, high-ceilinged rooms and galleries gleaming in black, white and silver. The rooms rival the most lush accommodations on Faerun, and vast crystal windows give views of Luthelspar below, as well as the ocean and forests beyond the palace. You are led through seemingly endless numbers of corridors and passages, arriving at last in a high, vaulted chamber, covered by a great glass dome through which the sun shines in every colour of the rainbow. There, guarded by a file of stern and unmoving elven warriors and surrounded by courtiers in mages' robes and fine clothes, and seated upon a throne hovering unsupported 6 feet above the dark marble floor, sits the legendary Queen Amlaruil Moonflower. You have all heard tales of the sad queen, of her love for her king, of his tragic assassination and her enduring sorrow. Yet despite her mourning, she continues to rule and guide the people of Evermeet, and lives upon this world long past her allotted time. She chose to stay in this world of sadness, rather than joining her beloved king in Arvandor, out of a deep and abiding loyalty to and love of Evermeet and her people. As you enter the room and approach the throne, the Queen rests her gaze upon you. At last, the heroes of Génie's lamp arrive on Evermeet. I have watched your adventures for some time. It is a pleasure to receive you into my court.
I am very appreciative, and I'm sure I can speak for all of us present for your grace. I only wish we could have met under better circumstances.
The fate of the world once again hangs in the balance. These are perfect circumstances in which to meet for the first time. I would much rather we met for an important reason than for some trivial banality. Please, you are most welcome in my palace. I would speak with you for a few moments, and then I encourage you to rest.
With all due respect, your Majesty, your Grace, I'm not sure of the correct honorific for you.
Your Majesty will do.
With all due respect, then, your Majesty, time isn't something we have a great deal of.
I am aware of the Nilshai attack on Faerun. It is about this that I wish to speak with you. There are things you must know.
Aren't there always?
She says, Evermeet is a shard of Arvandor, the divine dwelling place of the Seldarine, brought to Faerun some millennia ago by our most powerful mages. As such, it exists both in this world and in Arborea, and is protected from all manner of things, including temporal disruptions. We, on Evermeet, remember the world as it was before the crisis you so admirably ended. And we see the world as it could be, as it will be if you do not prevent the current catastrophe from unfolding. The Nilshai attack on Faerun has begun. Above the skies of Yorwood, a portal to the far realm has opened. The Uir, a race of star elves that occupy the woods, have already requested the assistance of Evermeet. But I cannot leave Evermeet unguarded. Which is why I will equip and send you, all heroes, back with treasures and with weaponry, and with some of my elves, to help defend our star brethren and protect your lands from the Nilshai.
Hal's gonna glare into the ground and begin there'll be a few tears coming out of Hal's eyes and stuff, and he'll, still looking at the ground, say, we've already lost a lot. We'll do whatever it takes to stop this happening and to make things right. I can only ask that you do the same.
She says, "There are treasures waiting for you. They have been appointed to you since the beginning of time."
How? That seems... Forgive me for questioning your power, but heroes or not, that seems a lot.
All things are destined, governed by destiny, governed by fate. We on Evermeet remember the world as it was before the crisis. We remember all of time, stretching back to the primordial eras when Shah wrestled with light before the formation of the world. And we see all of time extending to its end when this world and the others merge and become one world. And here in this middle of time, you have been raised up to protect Faerun for as long as it needs protecting and for as long as you are able to hold out. There is much we could tell you. There is much we will tell you. Let us begin with this. Some time ago, there was a star elf named Murel Duskwalker, a wizard. He became corrupted by his greed, by his obsession with power. Legends say he entered into a pact with some kind of demonic entity, an ancient creature that embodied greed and avarice. And she looks at Howl as she says that.
Okay. Oh, how does Howl not react really badly and ruin our chances with this really powerful person? And Howl's going to snap his head up from glaring at the floor.
Yeah.
And say, "You spoke of fate a moment ago. I hope you also speak in complete truth, because I swear..."
These are legends that I relate to you. I relate to you everything that we know, everything that will be relevant to what you need. Please, allow me to continue and things will become clearer.
Howler bites his tongue, gritted teeth.
Murel created a glass citadel, Tirintiral, from which he marshalled elven forces to conquer the Star Elves. He failed, and was interred by the Star Elves in his citadel. Afterwards, the citadel and its towers were cut off from the Star Elf realm of Sildelurir to become their own plane of existence, the Night Realm. In the Night Realm, Morel persisted as a rather disgusting brain in a jar, the byproduct of the work of his apprentices. Yet unbeknownst to the mages who cut off Tirintiral from Sildelurir, she gets it right. I'm just struggling with all the accents on these
crazy.
words. Yeah. A portal connecting the Night Realm to the great forest of the Urewood existed, though inactive. It appears that this inactive portal was discovered by a human mage, Tarchamus. He worked with an apprentice, a former student of Murel himself, Kijal Star Dancer, who was the only survivor of Murel's defeat by the other Star Elves. Tarchamus and Kijal reactivated the portal to the Night Realm, and inadvertently, the Far Realm. There was a short battle between Murel's necromantic forces and the Nilshai, in which Murel was destroyed once and for all. Tarchamus and Kijal fled from the portal, retreating to the former's library. I understand that this library is now lost, but that before retreating from the world, Tarchamus became a lich and sealed his soul in some sort of book. There are also rumours that Kil'jael used a king's tear that he had taken from his former master to seal his own memories and magic away. Kil'jael is long dead and lost, much like Tarchamus himself. If you possessed the information about Tarchamus and Kil'jael's powers, I suspect you would be able to seal off the portal to the Far Realm above the Uira Wood with little casualty. She pauses.
So, we need the tier with Kil'jael's memories and knowledge in it, and we need Tarchamus's book with his soul in it.
That would be the most expedient way of closing the portal. Without it, you would need to resort to your own magical abilities to harness and channel the planar magics to force closed the portal. It would be more dangerous. If you have the information contained in the King's Tear, if you were able to find the book, you would be more equipped. But the invasion has already begun. The Uira Wood is under attack now. You have little time.
Just to clarify, this is out of character. When we went to the library, we found... we didn't find the book itself, did we? We found... Did we find the book itself? Because part of the page was missing, which is what Orbrin took, if I'm not mistaken.
You found a note from Orbrin Crownsilver saying that he has the book.
Okay, cool. In that case then, Hal will say to the Queen, we think we know who has the book. I don't suppose you knew anything about Orbrin Crownsilver and where they might be at this current time, if we could find them quickly.
Lord Crownsilver, step forward. And from behind one of the behind a group of elven mages steps a man. He has black skin. He has a long, ragged black beard and ragged black hair. It doesn't look like he's been especially well kept and well groomed over the what may be a couple of months. He wears plate armour, but he is walking heavily stooped over. He can barely lift his head. And he is wearing the emblem, the seal of the nation of Cormyr on his breastplate. He steps forward and he says, "I am Orbrin Crownsilver. I know the location of the tome. Please, I would speak with you in private."
You did well to get away, Orbrin. I'm sure you know there are many people looking for you, not just us.
Indeed. That's why I came to Evermeet. The Queen says, "You are welcome to the chamber over there." She gestures to a door that just opens of its own accord. "Please, hurry."
Yeah, well, let's go. Let's roll.
The four of you make your way in there, followed by Bryn and Prince Lamruil. Bryn closes the door, and he says, "You see now why I couldn't let her have the tome. She would have destroyed it, and with it part of the secret dispelling the Nilshai's portal. Not to mention the other magics that it contains."
She nearly destroyed us.
I am sorry that you had to interact with her at all. She's a psychopath.
Evidently.
Psychopath is putting it lightly, but
We can deal with her when the threat of the Nilshai is resolved. Without resolving that threat, we won't be around long enough to actually deal with the problem.
I'm glad to see that you...
He says, I will be honest with you now. The Queen does not know I have the book. Thank you for not betraying that secret. Such a powerful item would never have been allowed on Evermeet. And Prince Lamruil will say, this is why I have told you several times that you need to get it off the island before my mother finds out. Bryn says, Prince Lamruil is well acquainted with everything that's going on and my story. He and I are old friends. I did him a favour once, whilst I was an adventurer, and it's through him that I have accommodation on the island and that my presence as a human is tolerated amongst these elves. Please, help me off with this breastplate.
Sure.
Cool. You help off with the breastplate, and once it kind of like comes off in parts, you see why he's slumped over. Around his neck is a chain, a very thick chain, and it is holding a book-sized lead box that he is carrying around his neck. And that's why his head is so stooped. He can barely lift up this huge slab of lead that he's carrying attached to his chest. He says, please, help me. And he starts to take it off.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
powerful magic item in lead. Very clever.
He says, the first thing she would have done was attempt to scry on it and on me. You can't scry people on Evermeet. And with the book encased in lead, she'll never be able to. For as long as it remains in this box. The moment we take it out, if you take it out off Evermeet, I'm sure she has magicians waiting to tell her where it is.
I doubt about that.
Lamriel says, you really do need to get this off the island as soon as you possibly can. Not only for the sake of Faerun, but this is a dangerous book. It contains the soul of Tarchamus.
well, I mean, luckily we have perhaps the two people on the entirety of Toril best equipped to handle such an item. And Hal's going to gesture towards Alec and Oriyana.
Bryn will say, I tried to read it. I tried to find the information about how to seal the portal. Tarchamus' soul is long past the point that he could ever reincarnate, or whatever it is that liches do to reform a body. He is completely mad. He has been sealed away in that book long enough that what remains of his mortal soul is now mad, deranged. I tried to read the book, and it drove me partly mad. It was when I encountered Lamruil in Waterdeep that he helped me recover my senses and brought me here to Evermeet. Lamriel will say, I've been doing my best to find a way for you to read this book without having the madness inflicted upon you. I think, now that there are more than just Bryn, I may have a way to do it.
What?
Evermeet is a place of powerful elven magic, and I can harness some of that magic. In one of the rooms beneath the palace, I've created a magic circle. Within this magic circle, if someone of sufficient intellect were to read the book, they would be able to read through it to find the information that they need. And the madness that that is contained within the book, instead of afflicting the reader's mind, would be made manifest in the room, within the circle. The reader would need to be protected, of course. That was what I was worried about. I don't feel as though I alone would have the ability to protect Bryn. But if one of you were to read it, I could maintain the power of the circle. Bryn and the rest of you could protect whomever it is that's looking for the information. This will, of course, only solve part of your problem. You'll need the information contained in Kiljal's King's Tier, wherever that may be.
I take that to mean you don't know where that could be.
The King's Tiers have proven to be elusive to maintain control over, or to maintain information about over the years. And I understand that recently they've been the subject of theft. We, on Evermeet, developed a way of discovering what information is contained within a King's Tier before it's shattered. We can't release it, but we can gain a summary, a glimpse of what that information might be, without having to destroy the King's Tier. It still needs to be destroyed, of course, to retrieve the information therein, but I, as Crown Prince of Evermeet, am in tune with the magic of this place, and I can tell, Oriyana, you are carrying a King's Tier.
Would be correct.
And I sense, simply from being a mortal who has been in love, that there is something about the tier that you are reluctant to part with.
Again, you would be correct. If there is a way to gain this information that is in the tier without destroying it, the thing contained within, and I'm all for it. However, if it would destroy the tier, you would have to prise it from my cold dead body.
Okay. He says, let us not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let us see what is within the tier first. Would you please come with me? Would any of your companions wish to join us?
At that, Hal's gonna step forward, be closer to the prince and Oriyana, and say, "If you don't mind, I'll go with you. It's not that I don't trust you, but given the things we've been through, well, I stand by what Ariana said. You'd have to pry it from someone's cold dead hands."
Please. I don't intend to take it from you. At all. Whatever you do with it is up to you. I'm offering assistance in finding out what resides inside it. After that, I and Evermeet will have nothing to do with the King's Tier. He will lead you through a series of passages and corridors and staircases up to the tallest tower. There is in the middle of this tall tower, which is conical, a plinth, and on this plinth you can place the King's Tier, and light shines directly down from a oculus at the top of the pinnacle of this tower. Laumariel says, if you place the King's Tier there, we'll find out what information it contains. will not harm the gem, and it will not harm us. I promise you.
Maybe it. Oriana will take the ring and place it on the plinth.
Okay. Light shines down from the oculus above. The light on the plinth begins to expand and get brighter and brighter, and then it contracts suddenly into the gem. And from the gem appears, as though as like a holographic projection, above the plinth, the face of Sam. And as the light expands, a spectral, almost, but partly kind of solid, vibrant colours, but you can still kind of see through them, Oriyana. Full-size, physical, life-size Sam is standing in front of the plinth. And he looks at you, and he smiles, and he says, Oriyana, I love you.
Are you?
He moves towards you.
Little hesitant, kind of, given that the previous times we've interacted, it's just like straight through. She'll still step forward.
Mm-hmm. He holds his hand out to you.
She will reach out to take it.
You touch it.
She's immediately pulling him straight in for a hug.
Okay. Yep. He hugs you.
Missed you.
I would say I missed you too, but I've been with you the entire time.
Actually making me tear up, you fucker.
Same.
I've seen everything that you've done. Everything that happened to you in Barovia. Everything that happened afterwards with Crisis. Everything that's happened up to now. I've been with you all the time. I'm so proud of you.
I'm glad to know that you were there the entire time. I may not have known it. It was a relief.
I don't think I can leave this room, but we need to talk. I need to tell you what's inside the gem, and I need to tell you what happens next.
If you tell me that information has left the gem, it will destroy itself.
I can tell you what it contains. I won't tell you the specific information.
Okay.
When I was... Before that afternoon, I was working with a group trying to obtain King's Tears. We were studying them, we were trying to find them for Cormyr. I found one. This one. And he gestures back towards the plinth. And I caught a glimpse of what was in it. It contains the soul of an apprentice wizard, who was an apprentice secondly to Tarchamus, but first to a star elf, who made a deal with who I now know is Silshard. It's his soul that this gem contains, which means that it's the one you need to get the information to close the portal. And he's tearing up at this point. Oriyana, the Nilshai are alien beings from the far realm. They don't care about anything other than power and conquest. They will destroy Faerun, and then all of Toril, and likely other worlds as well. It's entirely possible that they'll be able to cross over into Adavar. Destroy your friends there. They have to be stopped. You haven't seen them. They are abominations, aberrations. They have no humanoid form. They're simply chaos manifested. I didn't realise that Raedra was trying to release them. I've no idea why she would attempt to do that. I've no idea why anybody in their right mind would try to contact the Nilshai. But she has. If that portal is not closed, everyone dies. You have to close the portal, which means you have to crush the gem, get the information from that soul, combine it with what you find in the book, save Faerun, save Toril, save everyone. That's what you do best, saving people. You saved me.
As Howl went with Oriyana, Howl's going to kind of like take a step next to Oriyana and like real gently put like a hand on like Oriana's arm and say, no matter what you choose to do, if you choose to keep this King's Tier intact, I promise you I will stand next to you as your friend, even if the whole world and any other world burns down around us. I would respect that decision. There's no wrong answer.
Howl. The soul also contains information about Silshard. Information you might need to bring him back.
Howl turns to Sam, just they
He said it very gently, like he's offering that, and he knows how you're feeling. He can see and has seen how you are feeling and behaving, and he ventures it very gently, as though really unsure how you're going to react, but knows you need to know that.
Howl turns to Sam, there's a real vacancy to Howl's glance. There's no anger.
Mm-hmm.
And says, I want to make a habit of finding strength in promises to friends as opposed to revenge and anger. If keeping this King's Tier intact means a measure of happiness for my friend, then I'll find another way. And then Hal turns back to Oriyana and says, just like we can find another way, if it means you keeping Sam, I'll do whatever it takes, and I know you'll do the same.
The prince clears his throat gently, and he looks at Sam and says, what about the soul tree? Sam will look at the prince, and then we'll look at Oriyana, and we'll say, soul tree? Oriyana, make a history check.
Damn, if only the guy with a +10 to history was in the room.
13.
Sorry, you have advantage on this because you're an elf.
Excellent. Doesn't matter. 13.
Okay. With a 13, this is what you know about the Soul Tree. The Tree of Souls. When Evermeet was created, it consumed all of the souls of the High Wizards and most of the Elven population that had assembled to build the tower that they used to call, to channel their magic to call part of Arvindor into Toril. That's what caused the First Sundering. It was such a cataclysmic event that it upended continents and killed a lot of people. When it subsided, the elf, the young girl who was the focal point of the magic, was given a tree by Corellon Larthelin, the head of the Elven Pantheon, and that tree contained the souls of all of the Elven High Mages that had died as a result of this tower being built, and it was hidden somewhere, supposedly on Evermeet or possibly beyond. Because it contains all of those souls, and it's a way for those souls to continue existing. They are contactable by elves, but they exist kind of in that kind of limbo in between state of they're not at rest and they're not living. That's what you know about it.
Oriyana will relay that information.
Sam will say, if you can find a way of taking my soul out of this tier without destroying me, then I obviously would prefer that. But I don't think you have the time. You need this information. If you don't take it, closing that portal will be more difficult, if not impossible. And as much as I think you're magnificent and that your friends are brilliant, I don't know if you can do it. I don't want you to take that risk for me.
I would burn the entire world to the ground if it meant I could bring you back. But I know that is not something you would want me to do.
No. He is now crying, like gently, but he's crying.
Oh, Oriyana's like
Yeah.
bawling.
So is Hal. Hal's just staring at them like.
Alec is sat on his own in the room they were in, like twiddling his
Well,
thumbs.
you're with Bryn and like and technically Tarchamus as
Can
well.
I?
The most awkward two are just looking at each other with nothing to say.
Can I on the time anchor, the devices? Can I
Yeah.
text Génie and Alec and say we need emotional support? Both of you get up here this instant.
Yeah, you can.
On my way.
You both head up.
If I
And-
destroy the gem here, there is no chance of your soul being saved. I can't search for you in the next life.
Hal's going to turn to Aaron and say, we could find a way. We've defeated fate so many times before. I climbed out of the abyss. We'd find a way.
Twice.
What happens to your soul if the King's Tear is destroyed, Sam?
From my understanding of King's Tears, everything that it contains is annihilated.
Out of character, very briefly, does Alex still have that scroll of wish from a while ago?
It's still written on my character sheet, so
Then
unless
you still
Dan...
have it.
Is it possible for Hal to remember that? Like,
You were dead when I found that out.
oh, okay.
I don't... But
I think you would know. I can't imagine.
I probably
Alec would
bring it
have
up
not
very
mentioned it.
frequently.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll...
Actually, I think Hal
You have
does-
talked about it.
Yeah, because Hal told Alec to save it rather than using it to bring Silshard back. I believe.
Yes.
Which makes this so much worse.
Alec is already reaching into the pocket where he keeps, like, spell scrolls.
You know what? Alec already knows. Hal just looks at Alec and just nods.
I mean... This, if it works, can reshape the world basically as I wish. I could... Do I reckon I could bring a soul back that had been destroyed that thoroughly using Wish?
You would not be able to bring a soul back that no longer exists using Wish. You might be able to do other things with Wish.
I mean, if I just cast True Resurrection on you, would that work?
There is no part of me to cast it on. My soul is contained in the tear.
Pretty sure True Resurrection doesn't require a part of you to check the text on True Resurrection.
My soul is trapped in the tear. You can't contact it.
I can't True Resurrection anyway, it's not 8th level or below. Could I free your soul from the tear without destroying it using Wish?
I don't know. If you did, you'd be able to... I would exist as any other dead thing.
Oh yeah, that's how magic works.
Maybe Hal kind of looks like confused and almost disturbed by his own idea, and then says, "Maybe not as a dead thing, but I swear I'm going somewhere with this. Sam, you were a capable mage, correct?
Very.
Capable enough that you could, and I'm not certain on the exact mechanics of this, but if anyone could work a way around to destroy fate, it's us. What if you were to..." And Hal looks at Oriyana and say, "Make a deal, make a pact. Silshard existed in a sense through me, and eventually Silshard was able to have their own body. Maybe the version of you in this tier would be destroyed, but if any echo of you could continue to exist, I think we should explore every option."
He says, you could use the scroll to find the information that's contained in this tier without destroying it. You could use the scroll to wish my soul elsewhere. You could use the scroll to wish my death undone. Or you could use the scroll to close the portal. You could use the scroll to rewrite reality.
I don't think we should use the scroll to close the portal. We can fight the Nilshai on our own terms. If we're using that, obviously it's up to you two, point out Alec and Oriyana, and we'll say, I have so much faith in our ability to stop any kind of threat or, if you'll forgive the term, crisis. If we're using this, we should use it to bring back Sam. I don't think we should lose anyone else.
Alec, you are an adept enough mage to know that if you were to wish for Sam to be restored, that is a possible wish. But not if the soul is annihilated. Wish only kind of like reshapes and rewrites things. It can't bring into existence something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's like...
So it's basically the information or Sam still, but you know.
If I... This is a out-of-game question. If I resurrect Sam, does he then know the information from the King's Tear because he was trapped in it?
You don't know if he knows it.
Good point.
I'm pretty sure we learnt before that to put that information into a King's Tier, that person essentially physically that information moves. You know, they don't know that anymore.
Or part of a soul, which I think in this instance is what it is. It's not just memories. It's part of Kiljal's soul is contained in the tear. So crushing it releases that part of them and their memories kind of into the person who crushes it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think I don't know how this portal works, but I have a feeling that it's not just open naturally. There must be something keeping it open. And I don't think that Wish would work like that.
Lamriel will say, the portal existed before and it seems to have been reactivated. There must be some physical tether, yes.
So I think it's not going to be the safest path. The spell is incredibly dangerous. The best path is for me to attempt to use it to restore Sam to life. And I just need to come up with the exact wording that does that without screwing everything else up.
I think, whilst I think you're right, I also think that the final decision has to be Oriyana's. It can't be anyone else's. And Sam's, I suppose, as well, since you're here.
What's
Amazingly.
Sam's last name?
Hagen.
Thank you.
Sam says, well, I'm not going anywhere. Why don't you see to the tome first? And then make your decision based on the information you gain from the tome.
I work with that.
Alec has pulled out a sheet of paper and is like already writing on it. That works for me.
Works for me too.
He will just pull Oriyana into another hug and kiss Oriyana.
She's returning that kiss straight away.
And he says the line that kind of the thing that you used to say to him when he went out on adventures and kind of was doing things for the Mages organization. He just says, "Stay safe," which is your line, and then kind of will take a step back, and he says, "Go kill a lich." Not that one. And he points at Alec. And Lamriel's eyes go wide.
Howl's gonna laugh through still tears and turn to Alec and say, "You could kill Alec if you tried."
I don't know, Oriyana stabbed me once already.
And yet you are still here.
Actually, I was still human at that point.
Lamriel will say, "I'm going to pretend that I didn't hear that."
Excellent choice.
Hashtag not all liches, that's all I'm saying.
Let's deal with the book. Keep the tear, Oriyana. Take it back with you. Don't leave it here.
Oriyana will, casting one last glance at Sam, she will smile through the tears. You on the other side. and she will take it off the pedestal and put it back on.
As soon as you take the ring off the pedestal, Sam just disappears instantly. But the last image you see of him is of the young man on the hillside with the same ridiculous grin on his face as he had when you said yes.
You gotta stop doing this to me, Dan.
I'm like, it's close to just outright crying. The piano music's not helping.
Oh, I've been crying, bro. I've been crying.
You make your way back downstairs, back through the labyrinth of staircases and passages, and you return to the room that Bryn is in. Bryn sees that you've all been crying, and he kind of just looks at you all, and you can tell immediately that he has a sense of the grief that you are all feeling, and the sadness that you are all feeling. And he just looks at Oriyana and just nods, and then says, "There's a book here that needs to be read. Lamriel has created the environment in which we can read it. One of you will need to. I'm not strong enough."
You said sufficient intellect? I reckon Génie, he's a pretty smart guy.
Génie says, "Well, yes, this is true, but if it is not a recipe book, then I'm unsure what I'm supposed to do with it."
I realise time is of the essence, but if we're going to be defending Alec from things, I'm a little worse for wear from the boat, and also I could do some equipment in order to, well, defend anyone, really.
Well, Lamriel says, "My mother has promised the treasures of Evermeet to you, appointed to you since the dawn of time. You could claim those first, I suppose."
We could take them for a test run.
And then
Let's see if these items of fate...
could we take like an hour break?
I mean, yes, we could do. I could do a short rest. That works for me.
Yeah, this can all kind of be done over the course of a short rest.
Fine, I will hit a short rest then, rather than encouraging
Yeah,
us
you
to
can
want
all you can all gain the full benefits of a short rest, and then you can proceed. When Lamriel takes you back into the throne room, he goes and up to the foot of the throne, and he speaks to his mother, and Queen Amlariel says, "My son has taken charge of you whilst you are on Evermeet. It seems he has also resolved to go with you back to Faerun. I will present to you the treasures and then turn you over into his care. When the time comes, you will be able to leave here, but I will not be able to send you back to Faerun directly. That magic is not possible here. I shall have to send you through the Star Elf realm, through Sildayuir, and you can make your way to the Uirwood portals that are still linked to the Star Elf realm. It's the back entrance to Faerun, so to speak."
That seems a lot faster than sailing.
"It certainly will be. We will tend to your ship. It was admirable that you made it through our defences. It proved to us that you are capable of defeating the Nilshai, of saving the world again, and that you are worthy of these, the treasures of Evermeet." And an attendant steps forward. Well, 4 attendants step forward with chests, and one approaches each of you. The one standing in front of Oriyana is carrying a 7-foot long, chest, holding it quite wide.
God.
And another attendant opens it, and inside is contained an ornate bow. This bow is made of some kind of metal, and it shimmers with moonlight. And the Queen says, Oriyana, we gift to you the moon bow.
Some kind of bow of the goddess.
This is a +3 magical longbow. The first time you attack with the moonbow in each of your turns, you can transfer some or all of the moonbow's bonus to your AC. So you can deal, say, a +1 damage and attack roll and damage, but gain a +2 to your AC for that turn. Alternatively, you can use it to call forth an elf shadow. The elf shadow will appear. It has the statistics of a shadow, and it obeys you. And it crits on a 19 or a 20.
The shadow or the moonbow?
The moonbow.
Both.
It requires attunement, and only you can attune to it.
So I will.
You can add that to your character sheet.
Excellent.
If you search moonbow, you'll find it.
Got it, yeah.
In front of Génie is given, the chest that is in front of Génie is a small chest, only about kind of that big, about 1.5 feet in height, if that. When it's opened, inside there is a chalice. It is carved from silver, onyx, and chalcedony, which is I'm not entirely sure what chalcedony is actually. Let's find out. Chalcedony. Search. Chalcedony is it's a type of crystalline form of silica. It's composed of quartz and mogonite, so it's a nice little blue gemstone.
When you said that, my brain
I
also
thought
thought
cryptocurrency.
it's a type of cryptocurrency. They just hand
Oh my
Genie some
god,
Bitcoin.
they've handed Genie the Bitcoin.
The Queen says, Génie, we present to you the chalice of Libelas. This chalice is constantly full of clear water. As an action, you may administer the chalice to any creature within 5 feet of you, and that creature regains 10d4 plus 20 hit points. Essentially, you have an infinite potion of supreme healing.
That's hella based.
And, once per month, you can administer the chalice to one dead creature within 5 feet of you. The creature is brought back to life as if by the resurrection spell. Alec, in front of you is a box about this long, kind of broader than the width of your shoulders. When it's opened, it contains a magic wand that is formed out of wood, but the wood is coloured in different hues and different colours that kind of roll across it and along it. Like a light show kind of being projected over the wood of this wand. It grants a +3 bonus to spell attack rolls made whilst you are attuned to and holding it. It is called the Accumulator. While attuned to and holding this wand, you have advantage on saving throws against spells. In addition, you can use your reaction when another creature casts a spell that targets only you. If you do, the wand absorbs the magic of the spell, cancelling its effect and enabling you to recover a spell slot equal to or lower to the level at which the spell was cast. And the wand stores spells cast into it, allowing them to be holding them until the attuned wielder uses them. The wand can store a number of spells equal to the number of spells you can prepare each day. And you cast spells into it as you would a ring of spell storing. And it uses the spell save DC, attack bonus, and spellcasting ability that you had at the time you stored the spell in the wand. But unlike a ring of spell storing, only you can store spells in it. But you can now essentially prepare twice as many spells per day. That's the Accumulator.
Have you created as a custom item on
Yes.
D&D Beyond?
I have.
Well, unfortunately, the advantage against spells I already get from the Robe of the Archmagi.
Yes.
Shut up, Alex. Shut
But if
up.
you didn't have the robe, you now also have this.
Why would I ever not have the robe, though?
Howl, You are presented with a box that has to be kind of carried by 2 recipients, because the box is as long as the actually no, it's carried by 1. It's as long as the Moonbow box was, but thinner. And when it's opened, inside there is an absolutely beautifully carved glaive in there. The weapon itself is carved with kind of intricate runes and designs along the blade, and the hilt. I think a glaive has a hilt.
Large portion of it would be kind of the handle area, the hilt
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Has set as the gemstone a gem that kind of just looks like starlight set into it. The Queen says, "We give to you Talshara. This is a magical sword, magical glaive, that has a +3 bonus to attacks and damage rolls made with it. You gain +2 to your AC whilst you are attuned to this weapon. It scores a crit on a 19 or a 20. And you can you can use it to cast certain spells. You can cast Dispel Magic at will, Summon Shadow Spawn twice per day. Summon Shadow Spawn twice a day, Tether Essence once a day, and Teleport once a day. And it acts as a Ring of Spell Story.
Okay.
You also get the sense, looking at it, that this weapon would be sufficiently powerful that you could convert it into your pact weapon. But to do that would require Soul Shard.
Okay. Howl's gonna take it and look up to the Queen and say,
A glaive, by the way, sorry, counts for the Polar Master fee, I checked.
Yeah, thank you very much. Howl will look up to the Queen and say, I promise to use this to make things better.
We are grateful for your promise. The sword is yours. I believe you are in need of a weapon. And in time, it will come to be your own.
Thanks. I appreciate the faith you've shown in all of us.
Alec is spinning the wand around.
So you can
Alec, don't point that at anyone, for the love of God.
Do you know how many people I could disintegrate with this?
It just starts like blasting, like.
So you can add Talshara, Talshara, to your character sheet, Hal.
Lovely stuff, I see that. Mamma mia.
All of these require attunement, so you can have a long rest here and attune to them, or you can carry on carry on now without taking the long rest to attune to them.
Can you attune during a short rest, or does it have to be
No,
during
long rest.
You're long, yeah.
What do we think, gang? I could go either way with this, but I would love to take my funny glaive for a spin.
I would like to take this for a joyride.
Yeah, I can't. I do want to, I think if we're going to save the world, we should probably be at peak performance.
Peak murder capability.
Yeah, I mean, just to check that the effects worked, I attuned on D&D Beyond. It would give me a +17 to spell attacks.
I'm going to take a look.
And unfortunately, I won't be able to attune to whenever I get a Staff of the Magi, and the Robe of the Archmagi, and a +3 Arcane Grimoire, and the Accumulator.
Nope. It's almost
But
as
I think
almost as if I've given you level appropriate powerful things, knowing that you'll have to make choices about future magic items.
It is now a time to mention that one of my DMs has a homebrew rule where you can attune to a number of magic items equal to your proficiency bonus.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
How is that in any way relevant? There are. I would let you take as a feat at the level that you're at. That you could attune to 5 items, because that's what Jarl Axel can attune to. He can attune to up to 5 magic items. So I don't see why you couldn't do that. But I would want you to take it as a feat rather than anything else.
I think one of the listed uses for wish is increasing your attunement slots.
Oh, you could use. Well, you've got a scroll. Do it.
Yeah. Although after I cast this scroll to restore Sam, there's a 33% chance that I'll never be able to cast wish again. So
Yeah.
that would
Allow
very
me to
easily solve.
swap the feat that I don't use.
We'll talk about it.
I'll talk about this next session.
In the meantime, are you taking a long rest?
I am sleepy. Can I take a nap?
I'm game either way, but my vote would be for yes, but that depends on time.
Oh. People
I've
moving
become
round.
Howl.
Yeah.
Oh God, you don't want that.
We're gonna have to live with it because something's broken.
I'm the
so-
DM. I can do this.
And
I can do whatever I want now.
But where am I?
I told you we'd find a way. Quick, rest Sam.
Hey Tony, 5 attunement slots, yeah?
Where am I?
Everyone can have.
You've been usurped, Daniel.
It's fine. Oh no, there I am.
Now Tony is gone.
I have gone.
Hang on.
Hang on, I need to get into the mindset to play Howl.
Be careful what you say in the next 5 seconds.
I'm so sad. They're very, very sad.
He is so sad. Come on.
Okay, this is just going to mess things up at this point. Let me see if I can find a way of getting everyone on without. See if I can find a way of doing this.
I'm so glad this happened after the really important serious scenes and not during.
Tell you what. Yeah, I was going to say. It's because my phone died, which is pretending to be Alistair. Let's have window capture. This. And that's how we capture that. Okay.
Also, that is a shockingly long time for us to go without technical difficulty.
Yeah, we did well.
I know.
There we are. Right, that'll do. Are you taking a long rest and attuning to your items?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
Let's do it. As we're doing that, I'm aware that Talshara is a custom weapon on here. You haven't added the. It says in the description it's a +3 weapon.
Yep.
Isn't a +3 weapon. Can I just quickly make it a +3 weapon?
Yeah, it should be, but D&D Beyond homebrew magic items don't always work.
It's cool. I can fix it if that's acceptable because
You can fix it.
Cool. Right, there we go.
And check that it's added the AC bonus as well. Then.
Yeah, I can do that. So it's going +2 to AC. So currently my AC is. Yeah, no, I had to add that as well. So put my AC to 22. Well, hey.
Cool.
Let me just do that.
Are you wielding an attune to it?
Oh, hang on. Let me check that actually.
Because it only works on attunement. So if you tick the attune box, it should apply it. I did test these earlier.
So let me ditch this. There we go. Oh, I think it might have done it then. Let me go back and just change that. I'll uncustomize it. Remove customizations. Yes. Boom, boom. Yes, okay, fixed. All good. Yeah, you're quite right.
Fantastic. Right. So because we've got these, because we can't use the map, which is what I wanted to start the tome thing, but we can't, given that I can't show the map at the same time as having the Discord open. You are preparing for your. So you are put up in some very, very nice, luxurious apartments on Evermeet, and you gain the full benefits of a long rest. You can attune to your new items, and then the next morning, you will make your way with the prince, with Orbrin and the tome, down into the depths beneath the castle, where Bryn has prepared a magic circle, and that is where we will conclude. And we will pick up in 2 weeks' time, the 24th, with you trying to find out what is in the tome.
Nice one. That was a really good session. I cried a little bit.
Yeah, so did I.
A little bit.
Yeah.
That was.
I was crying on the inside because I don't feel emotions.
It's so lich-like of you, man.
Yeah, me and Alec are very, very
just-
similar. We're
Roleplay
we're dead on the
super hard.
outside and mostly inside. And also, my soul is stored in a diamond that I hid in the Feywild. And it's definitely still there. That's definitely not the next arc of the campaign.
At some point, some big bad's going to turn up with Alex Phylactery, and we're all going to promptly shit our pants.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I assume Dan knows who's taken it where they are. But
I genuinely don't. I've not worked that out yet. But your phylactery does feature in the... When we conclude this catastrophe, and we move on to the next arc, Arc 5, your phylactery does feature.
I love Arc 5 of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna go
It will
find.
be better.
We're gonna go find all the 4 alternate universe versions of Alec. They all have different color eye combinations.
But yeah, the next arc is mostly, just to give you a spoiler, is Génie focused.
Well, hey,
I
love that.
But does tie up a few loose ends that we've got plot wise. So we'll have to see where you are with the lamp, with Waterdeep, with your patrons, with politics, with resources. But you are due an airship to return to you at some point, and some dinosaurs. You are due some wins now that you have turned the corner in this arc that was themed all about gradually losing things. You are now beginning to make choices about recovering things. You've been awarded weapons and items. Now it's your chance to go back into the world and take back that which has been taken from you.
Just as long as we don't have to fight Vecna again, because I've read that CR26 stat block and
You will not need to fight Vecna again. That's we've done that several times over. He's definitely dead this time, I'm sure.
Said every DM ever.
that's what Vecna
he's-
wants us to think.
He's coming out in a new source book anyway.
Now,
so.
now to take a big sip of water and we read what wizards are doing for the next source book.
So if you want to talk to me about the wording for wish over the next fortnight, Miles, you can. I believe that I'm seeing you tomorrow anyway, so I expect some thoughts.
That's what we're going to be doing at work tomorrow. It's just planning wish. That's all I do at D&D at work now is D&D prep. I don't do any work.
And yeah, we can have a think about that. I'm gonna give. I might not. I don't think I'm seeing you tomorrow, am I, Connor?
Wait, what's going on tomorrow? Is that...
Indie movie.
We'll talk about it when we come off stream. Let's end the
cool.
stream and then we'll have a quick
let's
chat.
not dox ourselves.
Fantastic. All right, thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time. Keep an eye on Twitter at TheAglarion, and follow us here on Twitch if you aren't already. Thank you for being part of this emotional roller coaster of my own devising. But yeah, it's good. It's a good game. These are some brilliant people.
I really liked today's session.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Keep watching what we do. We'll be back at 7:30 on Monday the 24th of April on twitch.tv/TheAglarion, and we hope at that point to have Alistair back with us as well, and Génie to be back with the party. So it's good night from me, it's good night from them. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you all soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.